Hey, I'm Thomas at ClickBank, and I polled the team over here about what are the most common kind of acronyms and jargon that get thrown around that people get confused on. Let's dive into them right now, one by one. So let's start with the biggest one that we get all the time, which is EPC, or earnings per click. And what this one's trying to do is back into how much is each click worth to an affiliate. And it's really a simple calculation. It's how much revenue divided by how many clicks were sent to that offer in the same time period. Or if you're an affiliate, how much commission did you earn divided by the clicks you sent to that offer for that same time period. Again, same time period is important there because if you factor in clicks outside of the period where you earn commission, it's going to throw off the metrics there. And again, this is a benchmark. What a good EPC is super relative to your audience. So for an example, an email list affiliate might know that on average, I make $1 EPC or $1 earning per click. So if they're sending to an offer and they're seeing that they're making 80 cents EPCs, they might know that, hey, this is underperforming a bit. They might talk to the vendor and go, hey, can we get a commission bump or increase? Is there some more unique subject lines we can send, different types of creatives we can send, they can work it out that way. Or they might say that, hey, this is making me $1.20%. This is above my average. I want to keep sending to this because it's outperforming my average. And it's a good performer for me. Next big one that's up is AOV. That's average order value. And this is a very common one thrown around because it kind of boils into how well the offer performs overall. What AOV is backing into is revenue divided by the number of sales generated. Right, so it's kind of getting an average, not just from the initial sales, which might be, say, a $37 ebook, but then how many upsells does the customer take on average for that offer? So what is the average order value? You'll see this thrown around more on the seller or vendor side than the affiliate. Usually affiliates just want to know how much I'm going to get paid. They don't necessarily care if it comes from upsells or initial as long as it's enough. But an offer owner really wants to know their average order value for that offer they're doing because that might show them, hey, maybe there's levers we can pull in the upsell flow to get a higher AOV. Maybe their AOV is too high, hard to do, but maybe you're pulling too much money out of the customer at first and your refunds and chargebacks are going up. So that's where that AOV metric kind of comes into play. And then this next big one is one of the biggest in my opinion. This is LTV or CLTV, depending on who you're asking, which is lifetime value or customer lifetime value. And this is how much an individual customer is worth on average to your company. It's similar to AOV, but it's factoring in things like if there's recurring billing that the customers are subscribed to, ongoing upsells they might be taking from you as an offer owner. It could be affiliate commissions you're earning off of that customer too. There's a lot of ways to calculate LTV, so I won't go into specifics on how to do that because it's very important that you back into the right type of LTV for your business. So if you're not sure what this is and you're an offer owner, you might want to do some research on LTV and how to formulate it. But it's very important because if you have an accurate number for your LTV, your customer lifetime value, you can back into what you can afford to acquire a customer, or your CPA, which we'll get into for us in a second, right? And if you know that your LTV, let's say, is $200, you can afford up to that amount of just about to acquire a customer, which could be really increase what you're able to spend on ads or pay affiliates and all that kind of stuff. So it's a number that really backs into your entire customer acquisition stream. So it's very important to understand, right? It goes against refunds and chargebacks and all that kind of stuff, negate against it, but all kinds of things can add to it that sometimes people don't calculate. So if you're interested in it, do more research on LTV and it can really boost your business to the next level. Okay, and like we just mentioned, CPA, this is cost per acquisition. Now this can mean two different things depending on kind of who you're talking to, but cost per acquisition to an offer owner or a vendor or a seller, whatever you want to call them, is referencing the cost it acquires to get a customer. So say you're spending money on Facebook ads for your brand or something like that, and on average it costs you $37 or let's say $50 to acquire a customer. That would be your CPA. It costs you $50. Now hopefully you're making more money on that on the front end, or maybe your LTV is high enough that you can afford to pay $50 even if your front end offer is only $27 or something like that. But that's what cost per acquisition kind of means to a vendor. To an affiliate, it's often used as a commission basis, right? The CPA for this offer is $50. So that means I'll make $50 per sale on a CPA basis, cost per acquisition or cost per sale or cost per lead, all these kind of things back into like what often gets thrown around is called a CPA, right? What's a CPA? Usually you're going to hear that in regards to an affiliate asking how much can I make per conversion of what I'm sending to this offer. Whereas an offer owner, again, is going to look and go, how much am I paying to acquire a customer? So it's two sides of the coin, can just kind of change a little bit based on who you're talking with. So just, don't hesitate to ask questions if you're a little confused with somebody and you're in that kind of negotiation point. Okay, so click-through rate. This is CTR. So CTR, you'll hear thrown around, or click-through rate. This can be used in multiple points of a marketing funnel, but really this is the percentage of visitors hitting a website that click through to the next step. Now, the most important of this might be visitors that land on a sales page and the percentage that click on the buy button and go to the order form. You want to know the click-through rate of how your sales page is doing to your order form. Is it high? Is it low? Like, is it, how is it performing? It might also be used on an affiliate who's running ads on Facebook or Instagram or something. What's the click-through rate of the ad? How many people are viewing that ad and how many people are clicking? What's that click-through rate? What is a good click-through rate? Again, that's super arbitrary. It really depends on what kind of things you're looking at. The click-through rate on an ad that's very interest-based might be way higher than a click-through rate on a buy button, right, on a sales lander. So it's very good to get your own benchmarks and then improve from there versus going, is this good or bad? Of course, if you're working with mentors, feel free to ask them. And it's pretty simple, right? You're just going to divide the number of people who have actually clicked by the number of people who are on that page in total. So you're trying to get a gauge of the percentage there. Let's say 30, if you had 30 people click on the buy now button and end up on the order form and 100 people visit, you've got a 30% click-through rate, or CTR. And CTR backs really well into conversion rate. Now, it's only 2 words, so there's not a very good acronym for conversion rate, or CR, but conversion rate is essentially the same thing, but it's looking at how many people bought, not just clicked, but who actually bought compared to who saw the offer. So usually this number will be much lower, right? Let's say you've got a 30% click-through rate, you've got 30 people hitting the order form. Then let's say you've got 10% conversion rate on that order form. You've got a 3% overall conversion rate. 3 people who bought compared to 100 people who saw the sales page. What this is really gauging is how effective is the sales page doing at converting people into buyers. And it's a very important number. It's one of the most important kind of metrics out there as far as affiliate campaigns or vendor campaigns go. And that 3% number I just mentioned isn't far off from a good conversion rate. Usually conversion rates are much lower than people expect because we're talking about sales here, not just like email opt-ins, which could be much higher. We're talking about how are you convincing someone to go through a sales page and then buy. Typically, we see anywhere from a 1 to a 4% conversion rate on the scaled offers out there. So it's not a very big number, which means you usually have to send quite a few clicks in order to get sales, but they converted high enough and they can pay a high enough commission to where it can be very lucrative for everybody involved. So that's conversion rate. It's people who bought divided by people who saw the offer. Okay, so CPM, this gets thrown around all over the place. It's a little confusing. It took me a while to figure this one out, just in my tenure at ClickBank and things like that. It's essentially cost per thousand. It kind of comes from cost per million, hence the CPM, but most people regard it as cost per thousand. And what this is looking at is impressions. How much are you paying to get impressions? And it's kind of backing to that number. So it's often used in ads, like if you're doing native ads, what's your CPM? Or if you're on Facebook, you'll have a CPM metric. It's also used quite a bit in email traffic, right? You might pay somebody based on how many thousands of emails they have for a drop. You're gonna pay them on a CPM basis. And the math here is you kind of take 1,000 times the cost. So you spent $100, right? 1,000 times 100 divided by impressions. So if you paid, let's say $1,000 and your ad's got 10,000 impressions, your CPM would be 100, right? $100 per impression or per 1,000 impressions. And again, this is a benchmark number. It's kind of, is it good or bad? It's arbitrary depending on how your offer or how your campaign is performing or what you can tolerate based on your other numbers. If you know your AOV and conversion rate, your LTV, all these metrics, if you know all those, you know what kind of CPM you can afford to pay somebody if it performs on average, and you can kind of go from there. So that's what CPM is. You're looking at impressions and kind of how much you pay to get those impressions. Okay, so ROAS, this is a fun one. Return on ad spend. This is a big one thrown around in the Facebook marketing community, Facebook ad buying community, things like that. But essentially it's saying how much money did you make compared to what you spent on the ad. So kind of getting to profit margin here a little bit, or your return, but it's your return on ad spend, or your ROAS, which is essentially your revenue divided by your ad costs. So if you spent if you made $100 and you spent 20, right? 100 divided by 20, your ROAS, return on ad spend, would be 5x. You'd be at 5 return on ad spend. It's pretty basic math there, but again, it's a metric to kind of know, like if you're at $100 you spent and you made $100, you'd be at a 1 or a 0 ROAS, right? It's not, you're at break even, which isn't a bad or a good thing. Anything above that, to most people is good, right? But you're going to know that. But again, that's where LTV comes into play. If your LTV is 200 and your break even on the front end is 100, you know you have $100 to make up with that lifetime of the customer, so you can actually pay more, or it's okay to go negative on the front end. So this is where return on ad spend, all these things have to play together, but that's what ROAS is standing for here. Okay, then we've got PPC. Pay per click. This has been around for ages. It got very popular when Google search was kind of the name of the game. Essentially, it's how much you're willing to pay per click, often in, say, a search environment. So if you want to bid on keywords in Google ads, you might say, I want to pay $1 per click for this type of keyword that people are searching for because I know it's in good interest based on my business. Another place it gets thrown around is like a native advertising, and you're bidding on key terms, right? Or kind of bidding on ad spots, on key terms. So you're going to be saying, hey, I want my PPC to be between 50 cents and $1.25. And you're kind of trying to tell the native ad network where you want your bids to land and how much you're willing to pay per click. So that's, in a nutshell, PPC. So tracking links. This is a pretty common verbiage, right? If you're an affiliate, you need a tracking link. A tracking link is essentially your dedicated link that ties to your account if you're on a network, or kind of your nomenclature or your little tracking ID. If it's like with an in-house affiliate offer, you get a tracking link, and that's what you're putting in front of people to click on. That's going to track your performance and their buys and things like that, and track the commission that you get. In ClickBank, this is called a hop link. So you'll have a ClickBank hop link that a vendors are going to give you, or that you generate from the ClickBank marketplace, and that's where you're going to go and monetize through. If you have I would really recommend installing like a redirect path. It's a Chrome browser extension. I think they're on other browsers too, but it's a great way to it'll just passively track any link you go through. It's a really good way to tell that your tracking links are correct and working, or if something's not working, it's a very easy way to just click on it and figure out what broke where. But a redirect path can help you see, did it actually go through a hop link, which is an important metric because it has to go through a certain type of link in ClickBank called a hop link for it to track correctly. So that's where you can start getting into tracking links versus hop links. They're the same thing, just one's on ClickBank. Tracking link is more just general in the broader category of internet marketing. And we've done a video all about hop links. If you're curious about it, you can click on wherever that little floating banner is here on the video and to go check out more about it. Okay, so OTO. This is thrown around all the time. I've heard people call them autos, but they're OTOs. This is a one-time offer, which is often called a upsell. And so what an upsell is doing, or an OTO or a one-time offer, it's putting additional products in front of the customer that they can buy immediately after the purchase. So imagine that you're going through and you get to the order form and you click buy, and you kind of put in your credit card information and all that, you click buy. The next page you'll see might be an OTO, a one-time offer, or an upsell. This is a, hey, thanks for purchasing. Would you also like this thing, right? On ClickBank, these are often one click, right? So the customer can just go, yeah, I want that. That sounds great. And we've already got the customer information and the billing information. We just charge it right then. Makes it really easy for everybody. But that's essentially what an OTO is. If you hear that get thrown around, it's an upsell or a one-time offer. The customer's going to see it. They have right now to decide if they want it or not. They just bought, so they're kind of fresh and hot on the press. And it's going to be a very high converting, great way to boost that average order value, or that AOV. Okay, next we just have landing page. What is a landing page? This sounds like it might be basic, but it gets a little confused with like kind of e-commerce or direct response and things like that. A landing page in our space, direct response marketing, kind of affiliate marketing, is the main page that the affiliate is going to send traffic to for sales to happen. So for a vendor, it's the main sales page. The highest converting sales page you have is usually your main landing page. A lot of people think, well, isn't that just the home page? No, typically this is a specific type of page designed to get the highest conversions. It's only designed to sell. It's not designed to feature the brand or about or anything like that. It's solving a pain point, taking someone through a story, converting that person into a buyer right then. That is a landing page. Which kind of brings us into a VSL, which is thrown around all the time. What is a VSL? A VSL is a video sales letter, where the main mechanism of the sales material on a landing page is a video, right? In a lot of cases, it's the only material. You just have a video to watch. They want to make it very simple for a customer or potential customer to not get distracted and only see the video sales letter that they've built. right? And these can be pretty long. They can be 40 plus minutes, and it takes someone through a story with a lot of open loops, and it kind of sells them on this pain point solving product. And that is what a video sales letter, or VSL, is. It's that video on a landing page. Which also brings us to a TSL, or a text sales letter, or a long form sales letter, as you'll hear them called, which is, as you can probably guess, instead of a video sales letter, it's a text-based sales page, right? So it's maybe a long form copy with some images, perhaps, maybe just text, but the main medium or mechanism of selling is through the long form sales letter, through the text on the page versus a video. And then you'll see people blend both, right? But typically a VSL or a TSL or a long form are the three things that people are asking about or kind of talking about. Then a couple other pieces of acronyms that get thrown around a lot are like ESP, which is an email service provider. This is a software you're going to pay for that is going to kind of house your emails you're collecting, whether you're an affiliate, whether they're leads or a customer base or a customer list if you're a vendor. It's how you kind of create email campaigns and send them as through an ESP or email service provider. These would be things like MailChimp or MailerLite or SendLane or Maripost, or all kinds of different companies, right? You can kind of do one of those versus another and get a whole bunch of options. But an ESP is where you're hosting your customer list and sending campaigns from, or sending emails from. And the one that really dovetails well into that is a CRM, which is customer relationship management. And CRM software it's often overlapped a lot with ESPs now. You can actually do a lot of mailings from CRM softwares, but it's things like Salesforce or HubSpot or Monday, these kind of big companies you get ads for, those are smaller ones too. That's where you kind of can track a lead or a customer through their journey, where account managers can take notes and kind of log calls and kind of all things like that. You can kind of really see a portfolio of how a customer's doing. These are very common in bigger B2B businesses. In the direct response space, you'll see these rolled in with an ESP more common than not. You're trying to get a good idea of how these customers are kind of progressing through your upsells, or kind of through these higher ticket upsells if you have them, things like that. So I hope this cleared up some of the jargon and acronyms for you in this space. If we didn't get to one that you're still confused on, or if you hear something out there in the wild, please come to this video and leave a comment below. We'd love to answer that question in a follow-up video or in the comments. And yeah, if we got anything wrong, which, gosh, I don't think I did, but who knows? Feel free to call me out. You always do. So cheers. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe, and stay tuned every Monday and Thursday for more videos. Cheers.